News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KBNU.
KBNU News Time is 4:05. I'm Bill Walter with this news update brought to you by Northern Steel Building. Police say they are looking for a man who's accused of stabbing someone at a Salt Lake apartment complex on Tuesday night. Detective Marie Stewart with the Salt Lake City Police Department said they definitely need to find him. He's a violent offender. Fox 13 reports that 46-year-old Daniel Etherington attacked a woman around 3:45 a.m. at an apartment complex, according to police. When the woman's boyfriend intervened, Etherington stabbed him multiple times, then took off in a vehicle. Police said the woman and her boyfriend were taken to a local hospital in a private vehicle by another person. The boyfriend was listed in critical but stable condition. Around 5 a.m., Etherington's car was spotted, and officers attempted to stop him when Salt Lake City Police Department arrived on scene, but he fled. Etherington has an extensive criminal history across Salt Lake over the last 2 decades. He's previously faced multiple felonies, including making terroristic threats, many cases of assault, and on individuals and police officers, and more offenses. KBNU News Time is 4:06. KBNU weather for tonight. Partly cloudy skies. The overnight low tonight from 0 to 5 above. And then partly sunny in the morning, then clearing, areas of fog in the morning, high temperature in the mid-20s. That's where we are right now, 24 degrees at KBNU. KBNU weather is brought to you by Adams Wealth Advisors. They have over a decade of service, earning the trust of the individuals they proudly serve. Visit adamswealthadvisors.com.
A building is just a building until it's your building. It's where you work, where you create, and where you store your valuable equipment. You take pride in your building, so make sure it's built right and built to last. Northern Steel Buildings will guide you from concept to construction. For your commercial, agricultural, or industrial steel building, visit northernsteelbuilding.com to see their quality work, or call 435-677-7300. Northern Steel Buildings. Value from concept to construction.
KBNU News Time is 4:07. The Utah Farm Bureau has a list of issues to watch for in 2022 after attending both their National Agricultural Convention and their 2022 Utah General Legislative Session held in November. The American Farm Bureau Federation, also known as Farm Bureau Insurance and Farm Bureau, Inc., is a United States-based insurance company and lobbying group that represents the American agriculture industry. After their conventions, the group took a long and detailed look at the needs of Utah's agricultural industry. This year's list of concerns is based off the Farm Bureau's policy book. Utah Farm Bureau's policy book will guide their general public policy actions throughout the upcoming year, including the current legislative session. Rob Gibson, a dairy farmer from Weber County and president of the Utah Farm Bureau Federation, said these policies are developed through debate and deliberation in response to issues felt on the farms of the smallest towns as well as in the families of the largest cities in Utah. This year's top 3 issues are water, Utah State University's veterinary program, and agriculture infrastructure. And the Utah House of Representatives unanimously passed a bill that would put free period products in public and charter school bathrooms. KUTV reports that House Bill 162, that was sponsored by Representative Carrie Ann Lisenby of Clearfield, passed Tuesday afternoon 72-0. It moves to the Senate for consideration. The bill would use public and private money to install dispensers for menstrual products in elementary, middle, and high school classrooms. Schools would also be required to inform students that those products are available. Supporters have said the bill is long overdue and will help girls who have missed school when they have had their period at school and had no products to use. Advocates say 1 in 5 girls cannot afford products for their period, and nearly 7 in 10 of them have missed school because they did not have access to those products. KBNU News Time is 4:10. For more details on these and other stories, visit CashValleyDaily.com.
Information and news you need. News Talk KVNU 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
Hi, this is Drew Allen with Allen Mortuaries. Over the years, thousands of families have planned ahead with Allen Mortuaries. Planning ahead helps you make informed and thoughtful decisions. It also spares your family the stress of making these decisions under the pressure of time and strong emotions. Allen Mortuaries' secure pre-need trust plan can save you nearly 40% versus other plans. Keep it simple, safe, and secure. Go with the proven choice, Allen Mortuaries. Voted best funeral home in Cache Valley in northern Utah. Allen Mortuaries. Then, now, always.
Want to improve the look and comfort of your home? See all the possibilities at UNI Furniture. Update your mattress and sleep better tonight on a Therapeutic Queen Comfort Top mattress for $4.99. UNI is also a full-line Maloof dealer. Add a Maloof adjustable base, 4 style choices there. In UNI's dining room section, lots of different brands with something always new to see. One popular set with a table and 4 chairs, $649. And for the family or living room, all kinds of fun new sofa loves and sectionals. If it's in stock or it's in the showroom, it's rated to take home. There's always a better buy at UNI Furniture downtown Logan.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Maybe you're not sure how you'll make rent, or you lost your job. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light. Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need.
211, how can I help you?
Call or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected. Get help. A message from United Way and the Ad Council.
We are there in your community. Small business owners, mechanics, police officers, homemakers. And we are there serving our nation in the Air Force Reserve. When medical emergencies arise, in cybersecurity, when natural disasters happen, we are there in space. We are Reserve Citizen Airmen, and we are there with over 180 different jobs to serve your country. Air Force Reserve.
For the people.
We are waiting with bated breath for news from the Cache Republican Party meeting an executive committee tonight.
With Jason Williams.
And I'm really excited about this next segment. We have 2 guests here in studio. We're going to talk about something that we've talked about many times here on the show, but from a bit of a different angle.
Weekday afternoons from 4 till 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM.
Welcome to KVNU's For the People. Thursday, February 3rd. I'm Jason Williams. Bill Walter here in the studio as well. Enjoy a bit of sunshine in this cold temperature out there. It at least looks warm if you're sitting inside looking out a window. But it is not warm. We've got something to keep you entertained, though, in these chilly temperatures. And that is our good friend Charlie Schill here in the studio every Thursday at 4 o'clock. He steps away from his role as a journalist at CashValleyDaily.com, where you can read his work each and every day, including theater reviews. He joins us here in the studio to talk theater, arts, entertainment, everything in between. And Charlie, always a pleasure. I look forward to this more and more each week that it happens since we started quite a while ago, because you keep filling my calendar up. You give me ideas of things to go do, things that I want to go do. I'm forgetting about these things less because I'm adding them to the calendar. And I hope it's having that effect on everybody. I think Wendy Hassan owes you at least a nod or something like that. Put your name on a plaque somewhere.
Wendy doesn't owe me anything.
No, they do. You know, they do a pretty good job of filling the seats there at the largest theater in the valley, right? Mm-hmm. And they fill that thing up pretty consistently, which is very cool. You'll get a kick out of this. I talked to a friend recently who lives in Riverton, Utah, quite a ways away, and not a convenient drive at all, who drives up here for theater. And so I asked him, is there a specific reason? Because I know Salt Lake Valley, they've got quite a bit. And he says he does go a lot down there as well. But he said, it's just unique up there. And he said, I think one of my favorite things is I get the impression, at least, when I attend an event in Cache Valley, that I'm seeing something that's been put together by people who, this isn't just a job for them. And he said, sometimes in the Salt Lake Valley, I feel that way, that this is just, this is what they do. This is how they make their living. But he said, I come to Cache Valley for a production, and I feel like it's people that just, they live this. They love this. I thought that was very cool.
That
anecdotal, but
most of the productions up here are labors of love. You don't.
Nobody's getting rich.
No. The performers in the touring shows at the Eccles Theater are professionals, of course.
Sure.
But no, most of the people who are performing here, the people with Cache Theater Company, with Music Theater West,
sure,
are just doing it for the love of it.
That's, when he explained that to me, I thought it's probably very true because nobody's getting rich, and this isn't. It's fun for them, obviously, or they wouldn't do it, but it's not easy to do. You've been on that side. This is. It can be a bit stressful, I would assume.
Yeah.
Even if you're doing something that's been done 100 times, it can still go wrong on you, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh man! All right, so what's on the calendar for us this week? What do you have planned?
We're going to talk about kids shows.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, very cool.
Though I shouldn't call productions up at Utah State kids shows. When you're my age, anybody who is younger than half of your age, you say that's a kid.
It's a kid.
That's going to be a kid till he hits 35 or so.
So we're talking about kids that might have kids. Those are the kinds of kids we're talking about.
Probably not. Probably not. The last weekend, Leslie Broad, who's one of the professors up there, did a staged reading of Ghosts. We talked about it last week. Wow. I had forgotten just how disturbing that show is.
Yeah. I thought about that after we talked a bit about it last week. It's dark.
It's dark, and it's disturbing, and it's... And, you can try to sugarcoat it by using euphemisms and things like that.
Which they do in the play, right? A little bit?
A little bit, but, you know what's going on. I realize now why the critics, theater critics, in the end of the Victorian era, when everybody was so straight-laced, supposedly, in public, that they must have wanted to burn Ibsen at the stake.
I've always thought that, if there's, everyone, when there's a time machine, they always want to go back and do these noble things. I want to go back and see that first audience's, their faces as they watch this play out. The first time any group of people saw this Ibsen play, I just want to see their faces.
Well, I was talking
Were they shocked?
Oh, God, they were outraged. I mean, I'm sure there was half the audience in the audience when the play ended that there was at the beginning. Probably people walked out in droves.
Oh, sure. I would have to assume, I've never thought about that. You see people walk out of movie theaters. You see it less at a theater, I think, oftentimes because of the ticket price.
Yeah.
No, the people are a little more likely to stay till the end for that cost. But I have to assume that there have been, those types of almost protests over more controversial stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's very funny to think about.
You don't hear people walking out of theaters. When I was, God, I don't know whether I was in high school or college, The Graduate came out. And midway through that movie, there's a scene where Catherine Ross knocks on Dustin Hoffman's door, opens the door, she's mad at him, and all she says is, "Kiss me."
Oh, yeah.
And there was a guy who was in the theater with us, and we were young and teenagers or young 20-year-olds, and this guy blew his mind, just jumped up. I can't believe you're watching the blah, 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 and out he stormed. And he got a standing ovation.
That is very cool. That's what you want to be remembered for, right?
Yeah, I guess. Totally losing your cool at a movie screen. That's really helpful.
Oh yeah, that's. Hey, hopefully, no one was filming. Everyone's filming these days, so you can't get away with that stuff.
Yeah. The thing was, I was talking to Richie Call a couple days before the show, and both he and I realized that we had never seen Ghosts performed live.
Oh, really? Interesting. I think this is the first time that I've ever seen something performed live before you have. Mine was sheer accident. Right place, right time. While I was at school in Oregon, and it was being done by a student group there, like USU's team, and they had a performance that they weren't charging for. It was kind of a trial run to see if it was something they could actually sell tickets for. And so they had us all come in, and they did the performance for us, and then they said, basically, would you pay for this? And we said, yeah, I would have. And so then they started selling tickets, and that was the only reason I've seen it.
The nice thing about this show, and it's a staged reading, and Utah State does staged readings well.
Sure.
We've been through that before. The two shows that Richie Call organized with the LBJ shows all the way.
Amazing.
Great Society. When we've been chatting off the air, I told you about that show, Civics for Non-Majors, that had this had the scene in it with the two girls in the abortion clinic that was just theater magic. That incredible performances,
and really kind of displays. I went and found some video of that after you told me about it. And
did you?
It really displays how theater can grapple with some emotional issues, touchy political issues, but they can do it in a way that it's still entertainment. You're still being entertained, but you're also being made to think a little bit, but not in a way that's going to have anyone leaving, feeling offended. But yeah, that's very cool.
The two women, younger women, who were in that scene were Molly Barcy, who graduated last year, and a girl named Kaja Strong. Kaja played the lead, Mrs. Alving, in Ghosts. And it's an interesting thing, you see this in both in high school and college, where a younger performer has got chops, but there's somebody who's in line ahead of them, and they get all the good meaty roles, and you get the leftovers until it's your senior year, and suddenly you're the girl. And
I hadn't thought about that dynamic. That's interesting.
And that's Kaja. She was the lead in the Bennett show, the Christmas show that they did up there this year.
Oh, okay.
The one that was a sequel to Sense and Sensibility or Pride and Prejudice, one of those two. I don't remember which one. And things are falling in line for her to get the leading roles, and she was perfect in this thing.
Yeah.
Very understated, Mrs. Alving is a closed person, a person who's very private, and suddenly all the family secrets come out of the woodwork in Ghosts, and she handled the role beautifully.
That's really cool. That would be. I wonder, if the actors themselves, how they feel about the material. Obviously, they wouldn't be doing it if they didn't think it was a worthwhile production. But I wonder if it's difficult where this deals with as we've said, some dark things.
Social disease, incest, debauchery, you name it, it's there.
Charlie Schill, our guest here in the studio. Ghosts from USU's theater crew, by the way. This is one more or done?
No.
Okay.
2 nights only.
2 nights only, that's right.
Friday and Saturday of last week.
That's right. So this one is done, but they have a lot coming up. But Ghosts is definitely one to put on your calendar to watch for if it ever pops up again. It's an interesting thing.
I don't know if anybody's ever made a movie of it.
Wow.
I can't think of one.
It'd be a great movie, actually, with a little Hollywood pizzazz, special effects. Or ruined entirely.
Well, it's a show you couldn't modernize. It wouldn't work.
No, it'd have to be a period.
It has to be a period thing, and it has to be, and from what I've read, the show is set in Scandinavia, and supposedly the Scandinavians in that late Victorian era were even more conservative than Brits. Which is hard to imagine.
That's interesting to think of these days with the current liberalness of Scandinavian countries. Yep. That's interesting. Wow. All right, there you have it. Ghosts from USU's theater team. Got a thumbs up from Charlie. We've got plenty to talk about, though. USU theater and elsewise. Talking theater, arts, entertainment, and more with our friend Charlie Schill of CashValleyDaily.com. Stay tuned. We'll be back right after this.
You want to feel important.
You want to be part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things.
You want to feel like you belong.
We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it.
We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you.
But our part-time service in the Army National Guard means we get to be more.
When our communities are in need, we get the chance to stand up and do something about it.
We get to serve in our own region and help the people we call neighbors.
From the mountains of Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, and Utah.
The deserts of Arizona and Nevada. The Pacific coasts of Washington, Oregon, and California.
To the wilderness of Alaska and islands of Hawaii and Guam.
We are here for our hometowns.
And together, we can make a difference.
Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Utah Army National Guard. Aired by the Utah Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hi, this is Gordon Deal. Friday on This Morning, America's First News. With a nod to the midterm elections later this year, we'll examine 5 of the biggest Democratic priorities that remain undone. Also, one of the reasons it's hard to keep COVID patients out of overwhelmed hospitals is because of the patchwork system for obtaining treatments. We'll explain. And the red flags that indicate it's time for a new financial advisor. Friday on This Morning, America's First News. From 4 to 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM. Your station for news and talk.
Hey, this is Grace Gosted. I'm a singer-songwriter, and like many, I've been traumatized by years of bullying. You're ugly, you're stupid, you're gay, you're worthless. Bullying causes real harm and can result in severe long-term depression, anxiety, addiction, and even self-harm. I created the Black Box Project for anyone who has ever felt different for any reason. Go to theblackboxproject.org to help you take the first step to healing. You are not alone.
This is Logan City Police Chief Gary Jensen. Scammers are continuing to target people in the Cache Valley. Fraudsters often threaten with arrest, withholding medical care for loved ones, or offer to sell or purchase items at discounted or inflated prices. Many of these scams often involve third-party gift cards or other money-exchanging services. If you receive an offer or are threatened like this with immediate punishment unless you comply, hang up and call the police to report it. Please do not become a victim.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Charlie Schill, our guest here in the studio, talking theater, arts, entertainment, and more here in Cache Valley. Each time we do one of these segments, by the way, I forget to remind everyone, but I post links to every calendar we discuss. So whether it's USU Theater, things happening at the Eccles, all of them, sometimes we cover all of it. I post links to them on our Facebook page. So kind of a one-stop shopping, easy place to go through and just see what's going on, see the dates that you can see things we talk about. We heard Charlie's review of Ghosts from USU Theater. That is now come and gone. That was a short run. Many of their shows, I hadn't really paid attention to this, but a lot of what they have planned, now they have stuff going up until April, May. Some of them are a bit longer, but a lot of them are like this, like just 1, 2, 3 nights. And
3-4 nights.
Yeah, and they're gone. So you do have to be on top of the calendar, right?
Yeah.
Now, thankfully, here in Cache Valley, you can usually bank on it being a weekend when you can get out and see some of this stuff, but also not always.
Not always, no.
Yeah.
And particularly at the Eccles Theater.
Yeah.
You have a lot of things come in midweek by an act is on its way to Los Angeles, and it hits us on Wednesday or Thursday. But now we should talk about real kids.
I think I know where you're going. I'm excited now.
The Logan Youth Shakespeare Troupe.
I am so curious.
It was very interesting.
Was it?
The thing, though, is I was expecting high school kids. I'd never been to one of their shows before. I was expecting high school kids.
Really?
And there were some high school kids. But they have kids down to 9 years old doing Shakespeare.
Really?
Yeah. And
that's pretty amazing.
No. You think that's amazing? They take 30 kids, 32, 35 kids, and they cast them in the show, of course, you know, and it's a big cast show. And you've got a few of them that are double cast. You know, a messenger comes in with a spear and says blah, 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 and goes off stage and gets changed and it comes back to somebody else. Okay, that's fine. But the Youth Shakespeare is putting 3 casts together. All the same people in 3 different casts, and the characters all shaken up.
Wow.
So every one of those kids is memorizing 3 parts.
I hadn't thought about that. And Shakespeare. Not easy to memorize.
Not easy to memorize.
I only had to do it one time in an English class of all things, and it was horrible to memorize. It doesn't... The normal things that allow you to easily memorize something don't happen with something that's almost like a foreign language.
Well, Shakespeare tends to shake up the sentence structure when he's doing an iambic pentameter or blank verse. And I noticed that last night a lot.
That's interesting.
But this practically a tyke. He's probably 9 or 10.
9,
and
wow.
There's more girls than guys, and they're not assigning roles. Well, first of all, they're not auditioning.
Sure, right.
Period. They don't audition.
Yeah.
You go in there and say, "Hey, I'd like to play Macbeth,"
and you get to.
And you get to in one cast, but just for 2 performances.
Sure.
Somebody else is playing it for 2 performances, and another person's playing it for 2 performances.
What a creative way to go about this.
It's very creative. And to see it done, it's not professional.
Sure.
It isn't going to be professional.
Sure.
But there's moments that just shine.
That is really cool.
But a 10-year-old comes in and he's a messenger, and he's going to give you 40 seconds of plot that's crucial. And he can't mess that up.
Sure.
He's got to get that out.
That's amazing.
The show goes on for about 2.5 hours. There were 2 times in the entire show that they went up on their lines and had to be prompted from the wings.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And there was one poor kid. He probably was backstage and couldn't hear.
Oh, sure.
So he missed his cue for coming in, and they had to go off stage and drag him from the wings.
No, that's great.
But
this is so. really quickly, what about the venue? Because a lot of times in the past, they've done this. I just learned this. They've done this at sort of an outdoor theater on the Tabernacle lawn, but this was upstairs at the Eccles, right?
And there's a theater, a rough theater in the Bullen Center upstairs.
Okay.
And they sort of did it in the round. There was there was bleachers on the north and south side, and then they were performing on the floor where normally you'd have chairs. So they created like a thrust stage in which they operated, and then there was also the built-in stage. So they had 2 levels, and they put a row of bleachers on the back of the actual stage.
Oh wow!
So there were audience on 3 sides.
That is very cool.
Probably 45 seats in the whole place.
That's amazing.
50, 60, something like that. And by the way, we were talking about the Black Box Theater at Utah State. 32 seats.
Is that what it is?
That's what
I knew.
I counted.
Oh man, I was way off. I said 50, and I thought that was small. 32.
32.
That's when there's something there you want to see, you've got to be on top.
You better be on time. That's right.
That's basically one person's social circle gets to go. If one person says, "Hey, I just saw this was playing," tickets are gone. Charlie Schill, our guest here in the studio. I'm excited about this. Before we go to the news, do we know anything about upcoming Logan Youth Shakespeare events? They've got a Facebook page, but it hasn't been updated since June of 2021. So, and I'm assuming this is an all-volunteer kind of thing.
Yeah,
so.
they'll probably do one more show this year.
One more, okay.
One probably in the fall. As I said, I've never seen the shows before. I'm not familiar with their schedule. But they're probably going to do one more show.
That's amazing.
It's interesting.
Cool.
The founder of the group says that what happens is no auditions, no competition.
So this is meant to be just purely enjoyable experience for...
And these kids teach each other how to do things. You've got older kids, the teenagers, and inevitably, you're not going to have a 3-foot tall 10-year-old play Macbeth. That's not going to happen.
A little bit of a stretch, yes.
But
fascinating.
No constraints on boy girl roles. Most of the characters in the show who are male in the script were played by women, young girls, and many of them were excellent.
That is very cool.
You see, it's funny, you can tell who's been in plays before and who hasn't.
Sure.
But the guys are all standing around in these jerkins with swords and daggers and stuff, and they don't know what to do with their hands. You could see them grasping for pockets that aren't there. The girls on the other hand, who are playing male roles, they're gesturing very fluidly.
That's very cool.
So even if you can't recognize whether that's a girl or a boy,
you can kind of from the body,
the body English
body
tells
language.
You, that's the girl. She knows what she's doing.
Funny. This is fascinating to me. And so did you happen to, were you inclined to jot down any names of people whose careers you might want to keep a close eye on as they age and
Hannah
continue?
Stevenson played Lady Macbeth.
Okay. Oh, wow.
And she played only that role. She doesn't have time to double cast.
Sure. That'd be a tough one.
She's teeny tiny. And the guy she's playing opposite is Quinn Howard. And he's big and burly. And it doesn't matter.
Really?
When their scenes are together, she is in charge, and you know it.
That's interesting.
And so does he.
That is...
She is good.
We'll have to keep an eye on that one and see that pop up in larger productions.
And that's a crucial, very, very crucial role. Lady Macbeth is almost the fourth witch.
Yeah. A lot of that doesn't work without a good Lady Macbeth.
Oh, no. And the thing is that, and Howard didn't play it this way, and he should have. Somebody should have told him, hey, Macbeth is supposed to be likable. He's a poor schmuck who gets seduced by the witches.
Yeah.
And he's tempted. And he goes home and he says to his wife, no, we're not going to do this. And his wife says, oh, yes, we are.
That's right.
And every time he takes a step back from those prophecies, his wife pushes him.
Kind of push
Stab
into
him.
it.
Kill them.
Yeah.
Go ahead and do it. Don't be it's hilarious. You have to remember that in Shakespeare's day, women didn't appear on stage. Young boys played the parts of women, dressed in
all male
in drag.
casts, right?
Yeah. 3 or 4 times she says, "Don't be a woman," to Macbeth, and she's there bloody to the elbows.
I'd never thought about that kind of juxtaposition with the way these were originally performed. That would be, I wonder if the crowd ever tittered. This is fascinating. Keep an eye on Logan Youth Shakespeare. Charlie giving us a little review here as that played out last weekend. And as Charlie said, they might have something again in the fall. But definitely one to watch for fun and for, like I say, getting a heads up on future talent that you might be hearing a lot about. Logan Youth Shakespeare, like I say, they do have a Facebook page, but it looks like it hasn't been updated since June of 2021. I'll let you know if we find any other contact information for those who might want to keep an eye on what they're up to. And keep an eye on us. We'll be back with more of Charlie Schill, our guest here in the studio, talking arts, entertainment, theater, and everything in between here on For the People right after these headlines with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News Time is 4:42, and the news is brought to you by Roof Rescue. The snowpack in northern Utah looked great a few weeks ago, but we have now hit a pause in the storms in early 2022. On KVNU's For the People program on Tuesday, Dr. Jonathan Meyer of USU's Climate Center said they are hoping for the best as they watch the trends.
No matter what season you're in, those blocking ridge patterns are what you do not want to see from a water resource perspective. They've certainly, like you said, hit the pause button a few times in our snow accumulation season back to October. And when you get them in the summertime, they have those incredible heat waves like we saw last June when, we had 120-degree weather in British Columbia.
And USU's Climate Center is the official climatology center, not just for northern Utah, but for the entire state.
We're a tight-knit group here, and we all just love climate data. We're what we call weather nerds.
As far as our snowpack, Dr. Meyer said it affects us, but the consequences are much greater to the south.
We're lucky we're at the headwaters for a lot of our water systems here. There are quite a few downstream users that are not Utahns that are depending on the snowpack to occur here in our mountains and then melt in an ideal way, make it through the reservoirs and the rivers and cross state borders and down into somebody else's pipeline.
And while the storms late last year were good, Dr. Meyer said that the snowpack statewide has gone from 140% at the start of the year to about 100% now. That is normal, but he said we are currently trending in the wrong direction. However, he said that they do have cautious optimism that we will not see a repeat of last year. But Great Salt Lake is getting some help. The largest natural lake west of the Mississippi is shrinking past its lowest levels in recorded history, raising fears about toxic dust, ecological collapse, and economic consequences. But it may have some new allies, conservative Republican lawmakers. The new burst of energy from the GOP-dominated state government comes after lake levels hit a low point during a regional mega drought worsened by climate change. The nation's fastest-growing state is also one of the driest, with some of the highest domestic water use, but some worry that the ideas advancing so far at the state legislature do not go far enough to halt the slow-motion ecological disaster. And legislation to put Idaho teachers on state health insurance is headed to the governor. The Senate voted 32-3 today to approve the plan that backers say will allow K-12 teachers and other school workers to take home more of their paychecks. Backers say it's needed to help the state hire and retain teachers and other workers by reducing their costs for premiums and deductibles. Lawmakers say health insurance costs are eating into teacher paychecks and causing many to consider leaving the profession. The law would give school districts an opportunity to leave private health care carriers and join the state's self-funded health insurance plan. KVNU News Time is 4:45.
If you think it's expensive to hire a professional, just wait until you hire an amateur.
Why the heck is the roof leaking? Larry, you said you got it fixed.
I thought it was fixed, Donna. Everything was fine until it started raining.
Larry, that's the point of fixing the roof, is so we can actually live here when it's stormy outside.
This is David with Roof Rescue. Our experienced roofing team is tried and true and will fix your roof guaranteed. Visit roofrescueusa.com to schedule your free roof inspection. Roof Rescue, providing watertight peace of mind.
KVNU weather tonight, partly cloudy skies, low 0 to 5 above, and then partly cloudy, then clearing on Friday. Areas of fog in the morning, high temperature tomorrow in the mid-20s. Partly sunny Saturday, around 30 for the high. Our high today has been 26. Right now it's 24 at KVNU. KVNU weather is brought to you by Northern Steel Buildings. Work with their Cache Valley team to build stronger, more durable, long-lasting structure for your needs today. Visit northernsteelbuilding.com. Call 435-677-7300. For more details on these and other stories, visit CacheValleyDaily.com. Let's check Wall Street now with Edward Jones.
This is Tony Smith bringing you the Daily Financial Market Report for February 3rd on behalf of Edward Jones. Stocks closed lower today, led by the tech sector after Facebook missing earnings and user growth expectations. The Nasdaq was down more than 3%, while the Dow outperformed, down less than 1.5%. Technology stocks have been under pressure this year, and value has outperformed growth as investors prices in expected rate hikes. Treasury yields inched higher but remain range-bound. Bitcoin, which may see as an investor risk gauge, was lower overnight and continued its slide. Natural gas continued to see extreme volatility, rising 16% ahead of the winter storm and falling more than 10% today. European and Asian stocks were also lower on the international front, following a drop in the U.S. markets. The Dow closed down 519 points at 35,110. The Nasdaq was down 539 points at 13,879. S&P was down 112 points at 4,477. And in the bond market, 10-year Treasury yields are trading at 1.83%. Oil was up $1.86 at $90.12, and gold was down $4 at $1,806. For stocks of local interest, Apple closed down $2.94 at $172.90. Nucor was up 27 cents at $112.25. Amazon was down $235 at $22,706.91. Boeing was down $1.13 at $206.39. And Walt Disney closed down $2.59 at $140.03. This has been today's Financial Market Report for February 3rd, brought to you on behalf of Edward Jones, member SIPC, serving individual investors with personalized attention and long-term financial advice.
Bring back what you've been missing. Bring back Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology.
Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology is Cache Valley's most trusted name in hearing aid technology. Schedule a free consultation with Dr. Paul Danes by calling 753-HEAR or visit CacheHearing.com.
Bring back what you've been missing. Bring back Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology.
Okay, guys, she's very forgiving, but this is the one time you need to get it right. Valentine's is Monday, February 14th. Call your phone order in now to Plant Peddler Floral. You'll see that something magical happens, and you'll get all the credit when the delivery guy shows up at the house or her place of work with a beautiful arrangement of flowers. Call Plant Peddler and have a credit card ready. Plant Peddler takes care of the rest. They'll deliver her Valentine's flowers and make you the hero she thinks you are. Call Plant Peddler Floral, 435-753-0444.
The next Wild Women's Clinic at Beaver Mountain will be held Wednesday, February 16th. The cost is $55 and includes lunch and a 2-hour ski or snowboard lesson. Space is limited, so you need to be registered by Monday, February 14th online at the Logan office or at the Mountain Snow Sports School. Get more information at skithebeeve.com. Don't miss the next Wild Women's Clinic, Wednesday, February 16th. Come on up and ski the Beeve.
Ah, that's better. Trade in the stresses of building a new home for relaxation. Visionary Homes Priority is giving you a stress-free building experience. Named the best home builder in northern Utah, Visionary Homes team will guide you seamlessly through the home building process. Call today, 435-228-4702, or visit visionaryhomes.com to learn more about upcoming communities in Nibley, Logan, and Smithfield. Visionary Homes, built for living, built for you.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. For some reason, my brain is starting a new hour when we're actually wrapping up the first. Speaking of that, coming up in hour two, we'll be joined by our very special friend Jen Daly of The Family Place. She's going to be talking to us about some new educational programs that are about to launch. We'll also take a look at what happened on Capitol Hill today. Big discussion about the expanding the earned income tax credit at the state level. This could mean a lot of money for Utah families. Is it likely to happen? Well, we've got the audio, and you can decide for yourself. That's coming up in hour two. Right now, Charlie Schill, our guest here in the studio, talking arts, entertainment, theater, and all of that in between in what is, like I say, something I look forward to more and more each week because you get people excited about what's out there to go do, but to be able to talk about it with someone who you, Charlie, just really love this world and have been in this world yourself. You've produced, you've covered, you've written about, Cache Valley is just so unique in this way. It's almost like a perfect match. Your experience and the millions of things you have to talk about each week going on here in Cache Valley.
These are my people.
It's really exciting to hear, and listeners seem to feel the same way. We get a lot of positive feedback about this. But along those lines, this is a personal question. I've always wondered, do these companies get the feedback that they would like to hear? Do you think?
Oh, sure.
Because I don't remember a survey ever being done, but do people walk up and say, "This is great"?
The odd thing that I've never been comfortable with, because in circles where I learned about theater, it was always, you are never seen outside the proscenium arch in costume with makeup, So
that makes sense.
Normally, by the time you would get out of costume, get out of makeup, and go out, the audience was gone. Here in Utah, the performers go out and hang out in the lobby, and people come up and hang out with them and compliment them and talk about it.
Sure.
It's a culture thing.
It's interesting, and it ties in with something else that we've talked about before, which is that here in Cache Valley we take it a bit for granted because it's just always been like this. There's always been a lot of theater options. There have always been a lot of theaters and a lot of production companies. Not the case everywhere. So we do, I think, have a tendency to take it for granted. But the silver lining of that is, as you said, this is labor of love. And then you have people like you who are in the seats, because that's a labor of love as well for you. I'm curious, this is a conversation for another day, I'm sure, but I'm curious where this goes. You see these projected population of Cache Valley to double in the next 40 years. I wonder what that does to this culture.
I don't know. That's something that we need to think about, because we certainly don't want this culture to go away or become somehow jaded.
Yeah,
it's that labor of love thing that makes a really good show here so thrilling to sit and watch. That's not a professional. That's not somebody with a SAG card in his back pocket.
Yeah,
he's just like me, but he's way more talented.
Sure. And to be honest with you, some people, admittedly, I've never met any of them in person, but it seems to me there are a lot of people who do have those SAG cards in their back pockets that maybe have half the talent of some of the people you met at Logan Shakespeare Theater over the weekend.
Well, maybe. One thing we got to say, the Logan Youth Shakespeare Troupe, the show goes on tonight at 7 o'clock.
Okay.
Friday at 7 o'clock. Saturday at 2 o'clock, matinee.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And the thing you got to remember.
It's cheap, too, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's like $10.
No.
$5?
It's less.
It's less. Okay.
The thing, though, that you got to remember, okay? You're not seeing Macbeth at the Shakespeare Festival.
Okay.
And you're not seeing Macbeth being performed by the Lyric. You're seeing Macbeth being performed by a bunch of kids.
Sure.
And you have to make allowances. You have to say, well, yes,
Makes
okay.
sense.
I can't hear that kid. He's mumbling. And some of them are wearing masks. I mean, God.
Makes it hard to understand.
But the thing that is so cool about the youth Shakespeare, is that every minute that a kid spends rehearsing or memorizing lines or performing is time that he doesn't spend with his eyes glued to the screen on his cell phone.
Yeah.
And boy,
Good
do
for
we
the brain.
boy do we need that.
Sure. That is, and it's encouraging to me, because I think, there are a lot of us who look at this younger generation, and I've said it many times on the show, Generation Z and what they're doing with like TikTok and some of it actually does fascinate me. But it also makes me wonder if that's the looming end of
civilization.
Honestly, sometimes, yeah, because some things I look at and think, oh, we're doomed. This ain't going well from here. But no, I wonder if this is a generation that's going to go sit in a theater. These are kids who came of, there's this disagreed upon window when it starts and ends, but there's this, everyone agrees there's this time in a child's life where they become sort of adult aware. They discover news and politics. They discover, and they're coming of age, in a pandemic with some of the craziest politics we've seen in a lifetime or a generation. And they are trained once a month on how to escape the classroom if a shooter comes in. And I wonder sometimes, are they going to buy theater tickets and go sit in a theater, or are they just going to expect it to be delivered via subscription to their phone? Pickleville could handle that. They could become a streaming service, but
they play with
a lot of
that,
others couldn't.
But they're not gonna.
I hope not.
They will do those little shows that they put up on the web. They're very, very tech savvy, but
sure,
they're not going to give up their bread and butter, which is that connection to the audience, nose to nose.
I hope not, because I honestly think it was one of the most unique forms of entertainment to experience as an audience member, and from what I've heard from those who've been on stage that way as well. And so I'm excited to see things like Logan Youth Shakespeare take off and get some attention. I hope that continues. And Give them some love. As Charlie said, you can still see this February 4th and 5th. February 4th at 7 p.m., February 5th at 2 p.m. The Logan Youth Shakespeare presentation of Macbeth. Tickets available at casharts.org. Hour 2 of today's show as we continue right after this here on KVNU Logan.